Okay, so Squeak, if you don't mind me calling you that, this is a response to your video of your multiverse. It's a very idealized multiverse. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just a little bit of a pessimist here. One of the things that I wanted to address was your reasoning on how if the war in Vietnam had been stopped by the protests and the peace movements, then you wouldn't have Al Qaeda going through and pulling off 9/11. And I really have to question your reasoning on that. First, because I don't see how Al Qaeda had a direct link in, or even an indirect link in, the Vietnam War. Um, Second of all, coming from someone who raised themselves and who didn't have parents per se, you to an extent need a parental unit because if you don't, sorry, I had a Yahoo message pop up. If you don't, then it's the whole fire burning analogy. A kid's gonna put his hand on the stove and burn his hand, and that could have been avoided if someone had said, okay, here's a little bit of guidance. Now, I agree. Parents can be assholes. I'm 18. I know how that is. My parents tried thinking that they could control my life. And the fact of the matter is, there's a fine line between overbearing and actually, guiding. So, in a sense, you saying you want the parents to be more focused on, furthering their career and getting off their kids' ass, well, that's just something that our generation and the last generation have really pioneered, is that they want to be, more by themselves and deciding things. But the fact of the matter is, you have bad examples for the past 3 or 4 generations. And so I really think that if you have parents trying to further their own career, you're losing out on a lot of things. You're losing out, first of all, on the care. I mean, look at your house. Look at the fact that you have a computer to respond to Philly D. Look at the fact that, you have clothes on your back. I came from Johannesburg, South Africa. I don't know if you know anything about that, but right after the apartheid, being a white person and then coming over here, world of difference. So, that being said, you need to appreciate that maybe your parents are trying to do both, further their career and provide you with guidance and a lifestyle. So, really, you have to say which one is worth more. Okay, is it okay to further your career but at the expense of your child's future? So that's one thing that I'd like you to think of. Second of all, I'd really like an explanation on how stopping the Vietnam War with the hippie peace movement would have worked out. Don't get me wrong, I believe that the hippie movement is completely true and how it should have gone through. I'm a raver, I'm like the new age hippie, I guess you could say. But I still don't see the link between that and Al Qaeda. Especially when you bring up the fact that, okay, Al Qaeda would be some shooting range or a demolition group. I'm not sure if you know about why Al Qaeda does the things they do. It's because they're a religious sect. And being a religious sect, it wasn't because they wanted to blow up stuff. They wanted to convey their message in as fast and powerful as they could. So they chose one of the greatest symbols of capitalism, the World Trade Center. They chose one of the most shocking ways of doing it, killing thousands of people, and they chose to do it in a fashion that would definitely set them apart. Because there was only one other World Trade Center bombing, and I think that ended up failing. So I don't think it's they want to blow stuff up. I think it's they want to get a message across, and their message is a twisted religion. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Nation of Islam is. I'm saying that any terrorist group that uses religion in order to validate killing people, that is wrong. Okay? So I think you have to look at that too. All right. Yeah, those were my points. Why do you link Vietnam War to Al Qaeda, and parents being parents versus parents being career makers.